Welcome to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. You can follow us at Facebook at Freeform Network, on Twitter at FFR Podcast. And remember to send your questions and suggestions to ffnquestions@gmail.com. The gang's back together here on Freeform Radio. We got Danny.
Yes, sir. Enjoying this end of summer, start of fall weather.
We got Noel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad to have you here.
It's all good, Andy. We're back here, ready to record for you guys to rock your fucking ears off. And so the gang's all back together. Let's see what's going on with everybody's week here. We got Danny. He's looks like he's preparing for a prequel movie here, and he's been watching an old show, some Italian show it looks like. So how's it going, Danny? What show are you binge watching to prepare for this prequel movie?
Yeah, I think I might have mentioned that I was going to start watching it, but jumped back into Sopranos. But before I jump in, I want to just give a quick shout out to some people that have been sending likes and subscriptions to us. First one is Mia Martins. Thank you for subscribing and hitting that like button. We appreciate it. Marcele Sos sent us a like and a subscription. Thanks a lot. Ethan Cruz, thank you so much for that, man. We really appreciate it. This one, man, saw Joe Rogan. So I'm assuming it's not the real Joe Rogan, but
either check mark after
that. Either way, I appreciate it. And then this other one, which is real similar, saw JRE234, which I believe is Joe Rogan's alt account. So yeah, we got two Joe Rogan. It's either the same guy or two fans that are huge fans of Joe Rogan as well. But that's great company to be in. So we really appreciate it. He's definitely doing some great stuff on podcasting. But yeah, jumping into my week, I started watching Sopranos with my wife. We kind of like those gangster style movies, so we're really excited to really get into it and watch those movies. We were watching Casino the other day, but yeah, we started getting into Sopranos. We're just about to finish season 3, which is the last DVD season that I have, so I had to jump onto eBay and buy the DVD set for season 4 and season 5. Unfortunately, I got season 5 before I got season 4, so I'm still waiting for season 4. It's in transit. So right now, we just watched the last episode of season 3. It's real exciting, man. Jackie Jr., for all of you that never watched it, spoilers, he just got shot. And, it's funny. You can kind of see Tony. He wanted to kind of give him a pass, but he didn't want to be the one to call it. He wanted it to fall on his father-in-law or whatever you want to call him.
Real quick, there's an interesting, I don't recall if it's on that episode where he's having dinner or a sit down with Ralphie, and they're like talking in code about who's gonna kill Jackie, like him or like Ralphie. But it's all like, I'll give you a pass if you don't want me to do it. And then like, it's like, but the way they're talking is they're not being direct. It's all like coded, in which I found very interesting.
Right. Yeah, they do have that conversation before the shooting, and it is kind of like where Tony is suggesting like this is what should happen, but it's up to you because he shit on you. You're the one that needs to decide. He's your a son-in-law or a stepson, so it's your call. And then also it's your call because that's why I made you a captain. So, kind of throwing it onto him for him to make a decision. And since he's dating Jackie Jr.'s mom, he's kind of stuck where he's just like, man, I don't want to put the call in to cap this kid. And then now I got to deal with Ro being upset. So real good stuff, man. I kind of vaguely remember, I've seen Sopranos before, the whole thing. And I kind of vaguely remember what's going to be next. But you were kind of reminding me that this is kind of where the TV series takes a little bit of a downstep. and it doesn't pick up until the end of the whole series again. So I'm not sure if I'm into the next couple seasons kind of being a little slow, and then it ramps up, a couple seasons after that. So I'm not sure what I'm up for in this next season 4.
Yeah, I don't recall too much. I just know there's a season or two where like they focus on Tony and Carmela's relationship, which I really didn't care for, and some other stuff. It gets more domestic than more like the mob stuff. There's like the mob stuff takes it's like the B story, but the stuff between Carmela and Tony, I don't know if it's this season or not, but it's coming. I do know that.
Yeah, we're real excited. We saw, like you mentioned, Andy, for the movie, Many Saints of Newark. It's like a prequel that's going to come out following Tony Soprano before he, got all mobbed up. So I'm assuming it's going to have the stuff between him and his dad, him and Junior, the hell's his name? Caprios, or I forget Junior's. Corano. Yeah, Corano. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to.
Corrado. I apologize. It's Corrado.
Yeah, something like that. And it's funny because I know we were talking a little bit about it, Andy, and how you mentioned how he busted the deli, and that's how they got a hold of it. And now that I know that little tidbit, and now that I watch it, every time I see that deli, it reminds me of the scene where Tony's dad is shaking down the deli. Yeah. So, and then he even had like a throwaway line where he makes mention of it, where he busted the deli so they can take it over, and how it's a moneymaker for them. So yeah, man, great TV show. I know my wife is really excited. She's bummed out that season 4 hasn't gotten here yet, but I'm assuming next week sometime we'll probably start watching that again. But yeah, really exciting, man. I'm hoping.
I mean, it still holds up, the show. I mean, I've rewatched it numerous times, and every time, like, there's little tidbits that you miss. It still has great writing, great acting. The show just fucking holds up.
Yeah, for sure. Did you ever watch Sopranos, Noel?
Oh yeah, I watched it when you watched it, like originally organically when you were watching it,
Right.
and then I went back and watched it on my own probably like 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And dude, it's an amazing show. I didn't really care for the ending, but I mean, it kind of does leave it open, and then the creator did kind of wrap it up. He did kind of explain what happens.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm satisfied, kind of like it does end, but it's just it's a sad ending for a cool character.
Oh man, I've never heard of any kind of alt ending or any kind of like canon ending. So what happens after they make it to the diner? They're thinking they're either going to get killed or go into witness protection. I know there's been a lot of theories. What did this creator say? Do you recall?
And I could have sworn we talked about this before. From what I remember, the creator was saying that Tony does indeed, the spoiler alert, Tony does indeed die at the end of the show, and
David Chase said that.
And then and then the guy with he had a jacket,
the members only jacket.
Yeah, the one that they had like assassinate.
Yeah,
that's what they're known for. And so when Tony's looking at, I think it was Meadow coming in, his eyes shut because he's getting killed. That's the moment he died. So that's when the show ends. Like
shit.
That's when it goes black. Yeah.
Holy shit! No, man. Damn, that kind of sucks. I was hoping he would still be alive and that there would be a chance of a sequel. Maybe kind of following the kid, Tony Jr., and kind of following him later on, but that Tony's still in the background and you kind of just, see him as an older guy now and, kind of giving advice. I'll do this, do that, and kind of playing that junior role where he's kind of taking over that, mentor for the new generation.
What did you ever play the Sopranos game? I think on the PS2.
I remember of it, and I think I played it for like a quick minute, but nothing serious.
I played it, I beat it, and the story is you find Pussy's like bastard son, or he had a son with somebody else, and he joins the mob, and like Tony kind of guides him and to become like a full-fledged member at the end. If I remember, it's fucking like 12, 14 years ago I played that, but yeah, um, the story was good. It got kind of repetitive, but I kept playing it because of the story, and it was actually pretty good, and it had the real voices of the people from the show. Um, but the overall story was, you're you pussy's son, you help him join the mob and all this, and you mentor him.
Wow, cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
you know
this
what
is.
wasn't cool
Go ahead.
is if I mean if Gandolfini was still here, they could even do like a sequel where he goes in a coma after he gets shot in the head, and like all this years pass by, 10, 20 years, and then he comes out of the coma, and now he has to deal with the world the way it is, technology the way it is, and the mod the way it's changed. That would have been an interesting sequel, no?
Yeah, I think that would have been pretty cool too, because it's
The
funny seeing them with like pagers and kind of running
flip
to,
phones, yeah,
or even like to payphones and stuff like
yeah.
that. It's just a whole different
The
world.
the reason I laugh, Noel, because with the technology, I remember distinctly. There's an episode where they're doing some like stock scam shit, and he goes, "Hey, close that computer down. That cookie shit scares me." And
Yo,
people, and I'm just like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But yeah, like it was just fucking hilarious. And he's like, that cookie shit scares me. Turn that shit off.
yeah, no, it was all new, man.
Yeah.
It's fresh.
But no, man, Sopranos, great show, man. Really excited to keep going deeper into it. But I know my wife is super excited, and like I mentioned, we're into that kind of show. So yeah, hopefully it doesn't disappoint these next couple seasons. I was kind of pumped up until Andy kind of shot me down, making mention that, there's a couple slow seasons coming up, and I didn't really remember that. To me, I remember just Sopranos in general just being a
So
great
yeah,
show.
one of the seasons there was like a 2 year wait because the writers went on strike.
Right.
And I remember that. I think it's between 4 and 5, or I don't remember, but yeah, that's when it got kind of weird.
Okay. Well, but yeah, man. We'll see how that goes. Excited, man. Can't wait to see it. I'm watching a ton of TV shows, so I gotta see if I could squeeze it in. But yeah, super excited. But let's jump onto you, Noel, man. I heard you have been watching this Tito Ortiz and Anderson Silva. I'm excited to hear about that, and even the Holyfield and who was he fighting? Uh,
He's fighting Vitor Belfort.
yeah,
Belfort,
Vitor.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So fill us in, man. How did it all pan out? Was it worth the wait? Was it exciting?
Well, these fighters are well past their prime, but I was still excited to see Anderson Silva. His career is a very unique one. He's one of those guys who can keep up with the age. He's not too old. I think he's mid 40s, and so he fought Tito Ortiz, who's also aged. I think he's like mid 40s as well. And I kind of already knew how it was going to play out. Tito Ortiz has a track record for crumpling pretty quickly. Uh, some people say he has a glass jaw. Other people say he has a paper jaw. Even worse than that. So you kind of already knew what was going to happen. And just to kind of sum it up, so the first round starts. Tito Ortiz comes out guns blazing. He looks like he's landing on Anderson a couple of good shots. And Anderson starts backing up towards the corner, and Tito just fires on him, keeps on him, laser focus in the corner. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I can't believe Tito's going out there pretty fucking carelessly, because Anderson's a pro, dude. Like he's a counter puncher. So to kind of just go, like what is it called, like a brawl style, that's not the way to do it. And so eventually got caught. He left himself open. Anderson landed a clean right hook. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Tito started like crumpling, and Anderson threw like two more good punches. So Anderson threw another like two grazing punches, but that first right hook is what did the damage. And Tito Ortiz just crumpled. He went to the ground. Uh, they didn't even really need to do the 10 count, but they did it anyway. And they waited like, oh, can you get back up? And Tito's just looking all dazed and fucked up. So, so yeah,
Gave him the
there was
courtesy.
for real, yeah. There was no way. So that was the end of the fight. Then the next fight was Vitor versus Evander. That was kind of more sad. It was not like a knockout, but it was a TKO from Doctor Stop, or not Doctor Stoppage, ref stoppage. Evander went out there looking just really old, slow, tired, just not fast, not dangerous. Probably dangerous to me or like any of us, but not dangerous to Vitor, especially TRT Vitor, all juiced up to the gills. And so yeah, first round finish. Vitor went out there, immediately hit him with some solid shots, and Evander almost fell out of the ring, and
Wow.
he managed to stay up. He kept trying to, block, and then he kept getting hit. Vitor just kept pummeling him, and then he got knocked down again. He got back up, and then the third time, I think he was almost gonna get knocked down again for a third time, and then the ref's just like, "Nah, dude, that's it." And Evander's like, "Well, what the fuck? Like, I wasn't out on my feet. Like, why'd you end it?" And the guy's just like, "Dude, like, you just weren't doing anything. You weren't throwing anything back. It's a one-sided affair. Like, do you just want to get in a coma? Like, so I understand why they ended it. And it was sad to see Evander just, yeah, I mean, he made money, but his legacy didn't do it. It didn't do him any
I heard
favors.
a tidbit that Holyfield, they had somebody planned, but the Holyfield was like a last minute replacement. He had like a 2 or 3 week notice. Is that true, Noel? Or do you know of that?
Yeah, that sounds right, but I'm not entirely sure. Uh, all these weird gimmicky fights, like I don't
Yeah.
keep too much attention on it. It's just that it came up, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll watch it after the Anderson one. But initially, I was watching it for Anderson Silva versus Tito. Yeah.
Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, I kind of heard about it. That he was like a last minute like add-in, because I don't know if initially who was it supposed to fight, and like he's up there. Holyfield's up there in age. He's 58 years old.
Yeah, yeah, and to put it in perspective, Vitor is only 44, I think.
Yes.
I mean that's a massive age difference, especially because Vitor, for sure they weren't testing strictly, so I'm sure he was taking some juice.
Oh yeah, he looked that jacked up.
And compared to the last few fights in the UFC where they do strict testing, he looked a little more full, a little better. Not to the jacked nature he was when he was like 38 or 37. That was like prime TRT Vitor where he does fucking spinning back kicks like a fucking madman. That was jacked Tito Vitor. But no, this one he looked full. Definitely looked better than Evander. But yeah. Speaking
Wow.
of good shape, I actually just started taking this new post-workout shake. It's called Dark Matter.
Oh
And
shit, man. You're gonna go to another dimension?
yeah, right. Yeah, well, let's see, man. If I keep taking it, let's see what happens. If I can say hi to Picard out there in space. But yeah, no, this is made by Maximum Human Performance, clinically tested. It's got essential amino acids. It's got creatine. It's got just a small amount of protein. You would think something like this would have a lot of protein, but really what it tries to focus on is all the essential amino acids. So you got like just a plethora here: lysine, leucine, uh, histidine, valine. And it just keeps going on. And so yeah, I recommend it for anyone who's doing some real heavy lifting. I just started taking this maybe about a week ago, and I take it just on my heavy lifting days. It mixes pretty well. It asks for 2 scoops, but I only use one because it's just pretty powerful stuff. Like the flavor that is. It's blue raspberry. Comes in a big ass blue container. And yeah, I do recommend it, man. I feel like it's working. I recover quicker. I'm lifting heavier than I've ever lifted in my life, dude. Just throw out some numbers. We finally made it to 350 on the squat. We're almost at 300 on the bench. Deadlifts were at almost 400, and we're just doing a lot of heavy bag work, boxing, shit like that. That's what I do during the weekend. And so this stuff, it helps me recover pretty well, and I usually take it right after. So anyone looking for something new to try out, look into Dark Matter.
Sweet, man. So you're actually feeling a difference. I know I think I talked to you a little bit about it yesterday. Junior's looking into getting worked out, and I'm sure stuff like this probably isn't good for him just yet. But yeah, he's getting interested in getting into shape and working out a little bit. So yeah, I'm sure stuff like this will be helpful.
Oh yeah, down the line, I would say once he's like, older than 18 and he starts taking like supplements and stuff, this will definitely help him out. But I think for him is the best thing to start right now, where it's not too heavy, would be like body squats and just using body weight exercises. You can get really fit, really jacked just doing body weight exercises. That's actually how I got started before I even bought any weights. I was able to do like 200 body squats, like 100 push-ups, and I would get tired, of course, but I was able to do it. And so I knew, okay, the only next evolution is to start getting like actual weights, and I got a 300-pound weight set. That's how I started out, and I knew I was gonna have to work my way up there to avoid injury. I wasn't gonna start, high. And yeah, little by little, man, 185, 225, 250, 275, and yeah, dude, little by little, we all get there if we work at it.
Sweet.
Yeah,
And
it's good. I'm more and more. I mean, since we've been recording the podcast, the three of us, and your talk about supplements, it kind of changed my view on it. I thought it used to be like, not nonsense, but like it might help a little. But more and more you see, especially with the pandemic, about supplements with work. I mean, we already knew about working out, but for like health and all that other stuff, it's a big plus. And all you're doing is just helping yourself if you get like you find a good source or where you get your supplements. I mean, it just gives you a boost in
definitely,
anything you
and
do.
it really takes like careful consideration.
Yeah.
There's so many brands out there. There's so many
Hmm.
sources. It could be tainted, and so you really got to do your research, and it takes time to really come across your whole like formula of what you take. I take so many different supplements, herbal supplements, and I even get it from organic sources. I started drinking tart cherry juice. I recommend that, or watermelon, just a little bit, in moderation of both of those things after a workout will help you recover quicker as well. So if you have a hard workout, a little bit of watermelon is going to help you recover because some of the vitamins in it, and one of the things in it, I think it's an amino acid, helps you recover, and tart cherry juice also. So yeah, you just come across little things, man, like that. But yeah, that's enough about my week and what I'm up to. What about you, Andy? I see you got this DVD set of Las Vegas. I remember that show, dude. That was an awesome, interesting show.
Yeah. Uh, just real quick, Noel, going back to the fight, I did find it was
Mhm.
supposed to be Oscar De La Hoya, but I think
That's right.
he got the coof. He was hospitalized
Yes,
because he's fully vaccinated. And this was all
the
supposed to
breakthrough.
happen in California, but they wouldn't give Holyfield the license to. They moved everything to Florida last minute, and he got approved 3 days before the fight, the commission.
Ah,
So
dang
there's like
it.
a lot of backstory. That's why I heard about this. And like, yeah, the California Commission refused to license Holyfield. But then they're like, oh, the promoters Triller was like, oh shit, so they moved everything to Florida, and then that's where Holyfield got his license, and he got it in, like I said, on under a couple weeks' notice, because he was De La Hoya was supposed to fight Belfort.
Damn, man. Who knows how much money they lost on that? Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
so yeah,
Crazy
it's
stuff.
I know Triller. It is what it is. It's gimmicky shit, and all I know is when I hear Triller and some other fights, I usually tend to watch because to say the least, they've been entertaining.
That is true. They had some big names performing too. I think it was like Daddy Yankee,
Yeah,
and they had some pretty big names performing. I was like, okay, they got money to throw at it, but they definitely have to work on their production value.
yeah, and then they had the Trump family, Junior and, and Senior, doing some commentary on an alternate commentary feed, and
Yeah,
usually when they're doing their drinking and all this shit, it gets pretty rowdy.
even De La Hoya, there was a time where he was talking just all this sorts of shit. He's like, "I'm sorry, guys, the coke or something," and
Yeah,
we're all like, "What the fuck?" Like, you're just obvious about it. Like, you don't even care at this point.
But yeah, I mean, it's just wanted to give a little update on that. I was like, I knew he was somebody else was supposed to. I couldn't figure it out. But yeah, so I just bought the complete set of the Las Vegas show that was on NBC. The reason I know of this show, it used to be on reruns on TNT when I had
Yep.
cable, and I would catch an episode here and there. I never watched it from the beginning to the end, and for like the last couple years, mostly the last year, I've been I've been thinking about it, and I watched some clips. I'm like, I gotta fucking find this show, and there's no Blu-ray release of it. There's not on any streaming platform, like legit one, and I believe NBC Universal owns it, so I thought it might pop up on Peacock soon, but that isn't the case. So I found the set. I got a good price on it. So I'm hoping I could watch it from beginning to end, because I know at the last season they switched. Jimmy Kahn was on it, and they got Magnum PI. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh yeah,
And the
yeah.
last season, and then I was reading how the show ended on a cliffhanger. So, but when I watched the episodes, they were pretty entertaining, and they had good-looking women, and
Yeah.
there was some action stuff, and it got me hooked. So I'm like, damn it! And then I don't see it on reruns or anything like that. I couldn't really find it on some of the streaming sites I go to. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to fucking buy this set.
Yeah, some of the episodes were actually pretty serious. Like it had more of a casino vibe.
Right, right,
Yeah.
and like that's what I'm saying. Like, they had like a big cast. What I read about it, and they moved some people in and out, and then they kind of refocused it, and then it got decent ratings. But just reading that, it never got the ratings they wanted it to, and that's why it got canceled after season 5. And
Mm.
the only reason, like I said, I knew of it, and it used to be on reruns on TNT in the late afternoons when I get home from work, and sometimes I would watch it, and it got me hooked. I liked it. I really did, but I just never was ever able to watch it from beginning to end.
Man, am I the weird one? I don't remember this show.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
like
kind of under the radar.
late 2000s, I think, and then like it only lasted 5 seasons,
Oh, okay.
and
It had
I remember
Josh
there was heavy
Duhamel.
marketing for it, and then I never really watched it when I was on the original airing on NBC, but I got a chance to watch it, like I said, on TNT, and I liked it. I just wasn't able to watch it from beginning to end.
Yeah, yeah, same. I would just watch like a certain amount of episodes in succession, but they was like randomly started in like random season.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's based in Las Vegas. It's a made-up casino, I think Montesino, if I remember correctly, and
Yep, might have seen
they had a bunch of just you had your B storyline and your A storyline, and I think it had like some of one of the members was like an Iraq War veteran or something, and then he just became the head of security, and so it had a good premise. Like I said, the episodes I did watch, they weren't too bad. They piqued my interest, and I don't know. Like I'm kind of excited, like you, Danny. I gotta. I This is one of the times I kind of talked about it in the previous episode where I was trying to find the shows on the DVDs on eBay, and I made an offer, but I hit an extra zero, and the bid was like 600.
Oh,
But some guy had a bot and he outbid me, so I'm like, thank God. And then so that was that. This is the show that I was bidding on, was the Las Vegas, and I got a pretty good deal on this. I guess my patience uh helped me out, because I was able to get it at a cheaper price than I initially wanted to when I was bidding on those disc a couple months ago.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, I'm like excited. I'm hoping I could watch them, like, because right now I'm also watching NYPD Blue. I'm like, it's on Hulu. I watched the first 3 seasons. Me and the wife. My wife is in and out on it, but she somewhat. I guess she likes it. I mean, she doesn't walk away. And that show was also mid '90s, and it was that show still holds up to today, man. I mean, that character Sipowicz and Simone. That's where I'm at right now with the two detectives. It's a great show. I mean, I haven't watched these. Those were on TNT a lot, the reruns and Court TV. I remember they had reruns, and I haven't watched any of those shows in over a decade. And I saw that was on my Hulu recommendation and started watching it. Man, that show is pretty fucking good too, man. And it still holds up to today with the characters and the stories.
Wow, yeah. It's funny that fat dude, the detective,
Hmm.
I always thought he kind of looked douchey, but I guess he's a good actor, man, from what I'm reading.
Yeah, he won some Emmys, and the one of the things about that actor, I can't think of his name, but he's from Maywood.
Oh wow.
He's
Oh,
from
wow.
Chicagoland. Yeah, so he retired from acting. I read that he's like living in Wyoming or Idaho or something, and he's like, I'm not retired. If a good role comes up, I'll do it. But I'm pretty much done. And after that show, and yeah, he's a Chicagoland or Chicago native.
Hmm. Interesting.
And a side bit on that, they did. He had a cameo on The Simpsons where they where they alleged that Homer was sexually harassed a girl. I don't know if you guys remember that episode.
Oh, with the candy thing? The gummy
Yes.
bear? Oh,
So Fox did a TV movie where that actor, the Andy Sipowicz character plays Homer in the TV made for TV movie, and he's like, Homer's like, they said they changed it enough where they don't have to pay me. And then he's like in the TV movie inside the show, he's like running over cats. And then he does this like U-turn, and then he goes to the girl. Now I'm gonna grab me something sweet.
Oh,
And then she's like, I'm gonna yell so loud that everybody in America is gonna hear me. And then the thing that Sipowicz says, like, with the man in the White House, and he does this hysterical laugh. It's just fucking hilarious. And I read that was really. I'm like, man, whoever they got to do that voice is really good. I actually read that he did the cameo.
wow. Holy
So
smokes.
that's pretty fucking awesome because I didn't know that till like a couple months. Start rewatching. I searched it and like he really did that cameo.
man, that's when Simpsons was actually good, man.
Yeah, dude. It's I find myself rewatching old clips of shows because today's shit is. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to shit on it, but it's just there's nothing where I'm like, this is good, and like shit that you get excited about you watching, like it's not good. Like I don't want to rewatch it and waste my time.
Yeah, there's few and far in between nowadays.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's a challenge. I don't know. Maybe it's my age. I don't know about you, Danny. I don't know why you're younger than us. Like,
Yeah, it's probably your age, Andy.
oh, okay. Thank you, man. We have to
I
fact check
mean,
that later.
I I get it too, man. And I think that too sometimes. I think, man, am I getting old or is like it's just shit changing and it's just going in a downward spiral? Because it used to be like you could have representation, but it would be about a story that included people rather than the story being the representation itself. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, the story and the acting was a way better. I feel the writing. I mean, there was kind of revival. We had a couple good shows like Mad Men, and Sopranos, Breaking Bad. But I mean, it's just a far. It wasn't consistent. I guess I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the style that you're into.
Walking Dead was good for a while, and then it went too long. I feel.
Yeah, that one is like peaks and valleys. So it started out strong, it hit the peak, and then it had a valley afterwards, like middle of the show, and then now it's reaching its peak again. It's about to end. The 11th season started.
They started like showing it, or they're filming it.
No, it's going. Like
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's on episode 8 already. I'm gonna watch that today actually.
Yeah, I stopped watching after this guy took over. The guy with the bat. So I mean, I don't know that's I kind of lost interest in it, and I'm shocked that it's still going. So, but yeah, I mean, Speaking of going, we gotta we gotta move on here, and we gotta go to our article of the week. So I picked the article for this week because, I mean, it's to me this is interesting, like kind of playing into what's going on in this country, which I find very strange. So Harvard has a new chaplain. I mean, and we're like, well, what's the big deal? They got a new chaplain. The chaplain is a fucking atheist. Sorry for the strong language there. So to me, this just it doesn't make any sense. Usually, when you go to a chaplain, they're supposed to be like, you know, some form of like, they're there to guide you for any. I feel like a person of faith, you know, mostly Christian or Catholic or whatever, Jewish, even some with Muslim, from my understanding of it. But the person as they chose as a chaplain is an atheist. And Harvard was founded by clergymen, and now, you know, in the 1630s, you know, not 1630s, but when they started Harvard, you know, it was founded by clergymen. And then to see what's going on now, 4 centuries later, Harvard's organization of chaplains has elected its next president, an atheist named Greg Epstein, who takes on the job this week. He's 44. He wrote a book called Good Without God, and seemingly unusual choice for the role. So he's going to tell you, I mean, which is, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but if you go to a chaplain, you're having some kind of crisis or something, and you're looking for someone of faith to guide you, and you're getting a person who's not of faith, and they admit it. So this is where I'm just like, okay, this is weird.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Andy, and you know, I'm trying to be a little more open-minded and progressive nowadays. And
you're gonna go woke on us, Andy?
No, I don't know if I'm going off the deep end, but I am trying to be a little more understanding to these are institutions that elect. So it wasn't that this guy just strong-armed his way in there. He's been with that community. He's been at Harvard for many years, and they elected him. And the article goes on and on. I don't know if it was just like a juice piece where they're just, you know, kind of lifting this guy up, but they keep mentioning how he's really communicative. He's got this way of speaking where he kind of brings people together. So maybe they're trying to find a guy that doesn't judge people in a manner that kind of excludes groups and kind of tries to bring people together. So he got elected by a group of his peers unanimously as well. The article makes mention. So I think it should be fine. I mean, if he sucks, then they'll get rid of him. But he's been in that community for years, so I'm assuming he's a pretty decent guy.
Well, the article goes on to explain, like, if you're going to a chaplain, then that means you're looking for some type of spiritual or religious answer.
Well, that's the box you're putting him in. That's the box you're putting him in. But he could be there for other stuff.
When you go to a chaplain, you're going to them to look for some spiritual guidance.
You know, according to you. I mean, but it's not necessarily.
So when have you ever talked to a chaplain? You just go, "Hey, what's up, man?"
I've never talked to a chaplain. Period.
In hospitals and everything, and I'm not. That's because I'm saying you go to them when you're in crisis or when the law enforcement have chaplains and such, because they're going to help, and 9 out of 10 times it's some spiritual help that you're going for, or religious help, not just you're not going up there to 99% of the time is not to just go and strike a conversation. You're going to them because you want help spiritually. Right.
To me, that's
my experience.
Like the situation to me is like the equivalent of having an astrologer or like the leader of astrology at a university be a flat earther. That's kind of what this is. It's like, you're in a position of religious power and you don't even believe in God. And so it is really strange, especially because if you look at the definition of a chaplain, a member of the clergy attached to a private chapel, institution, ship, branch in the armed forces,
Mm-hmm.
etc. Like a prison chaplain who would be able to give you like your last what is
Your
it,
last
rights?
rights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I get that, man. I get the sentiment. I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that I the article is not making mention that this guy is going to point you away. So if you're like, I'm questioning my faith, chaplain, what do I do? It's not like it's not insinuating that he's going to be like, yeah, damn right, man, get rid of that, jump over here and do this, that the way he communicates to people, that it gives people peace and it gives people it like resolves the situations, and maybe that's what the community is looking for. I understand your analogy about the flat earther, but the only way that would work is if uh, uh, like a community of astronomers decided, you know what, let's think of this different, let's bring this flat earther over here and have him lead this group. So I don't know. I wouldn't be able to see that happening, and to be honest, I wouldn't be able to see this happening ever. But it must be that his character carries him over, and to me, you judge a person by their character, not necessarily by who they vote for, their appearance, their faith. You don't judge people by that. You judge them by their actions and the kind of person that they are.
Yeah. I hear you, Dan, but the chaplain's role, it's a well, like they're getting. I feel like spiritual role. They kind of talk about it here. So they're. Let me see here. The dozens of students who Mr. Epstein mentors have found a source of meaning in the school's organization of humanist, atheist agnostics, reflecting on broader trend of young people across the United States who increasingly identify as spiritual but religiously non-affiliated. So to me, the word spiritual to me, I mean, Anglo, Jewish Christian type of mindset, but they're going through another a door. I feel like they're opening up another side of it, which we're like, of course, we all want to be good to each other and tolerant, but the whole role, to me, the role of the chaplain is it's religious, it's God, and to me, that's like the whole point of this. And you're having a person who doesn't believe any of that, but still says, not that he's pushing that they don't need it, but that's your role, is to at least say, like, if I go in there and I'm like, oh yeah, this and that, like, can we pray? What I want to know what his. I guess my question is, like, what would he do at that moment? Like, well, we don't need to pray. We could do this, or he's gonna give you some sort of guidance in a non-religious way. That makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. No, I don't know how he would, answer that and how he would push it. The article doesn't go into that much depth. And the little bit that I researched, I didn't see a ton of negative stuff out there on this guy. Now maybe he's a douchebag and an asshole. I don't know, but from the evidence that I have, he sounds like a decent guy. And again, this is a community of peers. Right now, Freeform Network is run by us three. If for whatever reason another person was going to start getting involved, we three would have to elect him in and be like, yes, let's hear what this guy has to say. So it's a group of his peers, a group of people that are at Harvard, that are in this community, and it was unanimous. It wasn't like he barely squeaked by because, half of, or almost half or whatever, they're like, we need change. And the other half are like, no, we need to stay the way we are, No, it was unanimous that these people decided we need this guy in here to try, and he's a suitable person to take this new role. So my feeling is, and trust me, man, I'm a man of faith. I believe in God. To me, I don't know how he can write a book that, good without God, or however it was worded. To me, everything in my life is with God. So I don't understand how he can live a life without that. But as long as he's not out there killing people, to each their own, man. Let him believe what he wants.
article, they got him in quotes saying, "We don't look to God for answers." Mr. Epstein said. He said,
Yeah, we look
"We
to
are
each
each
other.
other's answers."
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
it just
sure.
seems really strange that you would put somebody, and it's not his fault. He got elected, like you said. So I get that argument. I get that statement. But it's just really strange the current situation in this world where people are being elected that don't really seem like the best people for the job. I don't know what else got him elected. Maybe his kind demeanor, maybe his cool guy. I don't know. But it just seems really strange to put somebody who has no faith into a position where it requires faith or it should be based on your faith. It's essentially like you have an economist and you get an anarchist to be the economist teacher or the economy teacher. So a person that's believes in anarchy, doesn't believe in capitalism and all this other stuff, you're going to put them in charge of teaching economy. I don't know, it's just really strange. It seems like opposite of what you should be doing. But I'm not even religious. I'm just speaking on it from a logical standpoint. Like if you're going to put a position for a chaplain, the person would be religious in some capacity, not absolutely nothing. It would be different if he was agnostic, because then he would be like, I don't know what God is. Let's figure it out. This guy's just saying, no, there is no God.
Right. No, man,
And
I
and
I I agree. I don't agree with his point of view in life, but I think people should be able to be hired for whatever position. Look at football. Women typically are not dominant in football, but now there's female coaches, and I think more power to them if they can do the job adequately. Even though this lady probably barely played football in her life, and if she could do it adequately, then and they nominate her and they hired her and she proved herself, then more power to her. Uh, maybe it's not a great example, but look at Ted Phillips and these guys for the Bears. Some of those guys are just business guys. They're not even football people. Now, granted, Bears is I'm saying a terrible example because these guys are kind of shitting the bed right now. But just because you're not a football guy doesn't mean that you can't be hired in a football organization. You could be bringing something else to the table, something different that doesn't require you to be knowledgeable in football, that maybe just requires you to be knowledgeable in business or knowledgeable in other aspects. But I get your point too, Andy. The whole point of that position is to be able to guide people during crisis moments and be able to reinforce the faith that people are having issues with. So I get that as well.
You make a good, valid argument there with all that. It's just that person in that football team, they're not going to lead the whole team. They're not going to be the coach. They're going to be a member of the team. And this guy very well could have been a member of this community, but does he have to be the leader? Does he have to be the chaplain, the head guy that's telling everybody else how to dictate what's going on? Like, is this the guy? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll
Right.
see.
it's like they're trying. I feel like, in my view, they're trying to, again, and what we're kind of going through in like the last decade with roles and like titles. The chaplain is supposed to be this like person who of faith, religious, and when you go to a chaplain, you're having some type of issues, and you're looking from an answer uh through a religion, through God or whatever, and he's supposed to guide you to that and do that. But now they put somebody there who is not religious. I'm not saying he's not a good person. It could be, but just on that one comment alone, I'm not judging him. But it doesn't sound like, okay, this shit don't make sense. Like it does not make sense. If you're going to them, you're looking for some spiritual guidance. And the article does talk about how a lot of people identify uh, as spiritual, but not, they don't want to be connected to religious, uh, old school traditional religions, Christian, Lutherans, Catholic, Jewish, or whatever the case may be. But they know spiritually they want something, and they're going to somebody for that answer. And this guy's showing them like, you right, screw all that other stuff. I got this other stuff. Like, that's what I'm saying. You're leading away people from the flock, and that's the whole issue I see here, right here. And you might not, and people like today in America, they yes, people are more spiritual, but they instantly they just roll their eyes when you bring up, you know, anything Christian based. They just roll their eyes. They dismiss it because in their eyes it's just like that's old traditional stuff that I don't want to be a part of. They want something new, and they're yearning for that new thing, or maybe they just the way they grew up they had a bad experience, but how they grew up with that particular religion, but they still seek it out. And the first step to, especially in school, you go to a chaplain. To me, that means they're looking for some reaffirmation of something that they lost because they had a bad experience. And this guy's like, yeah, man, like, have you ever looked into like this? We don't need God. We're all this and that. And to me, it's just like you got somebody who's lost, and you're gonna lead them to something different, and they might come out better for it. I'm not saying not, but you're just taking another soul away from JC, man. And like young people, it's just they easily dismiss old school traditional stuff because they don't understand it. And it's such Christianity has such a negative term, especially in this country. They're so easily dismiss it, and that's why they still know they need it, but they want to put a new name on it. And that's how you get all this Gnostics and like this humanism that they're talking about and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I was surprised to read in the article that 20% of Americans don't believe in God, man. To me, that's a huge number. I didn't think it was that many people. I was just like, Jesus.
Yeah, it just, which is, it's there's plenty of people who are fine that don't believe in God. It's just, again, but there's a lot of people in between, 80% who have some type of faith, and they might be into weird stuff like, satanic stuff, or the tree people and all this, and Mother Earth stuff, the crystal people. Man, it's okay, but those the traditional standard of like, Christian, Judeo-Christian is just like, it's just dismissed. It's just people roll their eyes when you bring that shit up. And some of the churches, the big churches, have the mega churches. You listen to what they preach, and I'm like, some of it makes sense, and there's some other stuff where you're like, I don't agree with this. Catholicism, the Lutherans, the Baptists, all this shit, and just people, they're like, I don't agree with it, and I'm done, and then they just move on to something else.
I think it's there's a lot of different reasons, right? But I think one of the reasons has to do with the church. The church hasn't done religion any favors, really, and in the whole history of humanity. Churches have, especially the Catholic Church, there's a lot of secrets being held there, a lot of bad stuff happened there, a lot of bad history, bad blood. And aside from the church, just the strict rules of certain religions, we can see how it negatively affects people's lives, and the freedoms that people have. To say that you're going to burn in eternity because you swear, or because you told a lie that one time, you know what I mean? And there's certain things you have to do the cross in a certain way, otherwise God won't protect you. It's just like some people, they roll their eyes at that. It's like, really? And it's like, you believe in this whole story, everything in here. Jonah got swallowed by a whale. It's like, really? You believe all that? Like, I could see the argument for some people on why they wouldn't exactly be fully into the religion, just because it's a big leap to make. It's a big, incredible leap of faith you have to make based on almost nothing except somebody else's account of history and somebody else's account of a person that is supposed to be revered as a god that others might not see as more than a man who existed in history.
Yeah, man. I hope this is for the better, but I guess time will tell. I was just googling a little bit, and it said that Harvard at any one time can have 30 to 40 chaplains. So this guy's just a chief chaplain. So I don't know. I hope that if people do have questions with their faith, they can reach out to maybe a more traditional chaplain. But maybe they got this guy to bring a different thought into the group or into the community. I don't know, man.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to
Sounds like you're
dismiss.
shitting on this guy. Yeah.
No, I'm not shitting on him. It's just it's
No,
it's a
no, I got
different
it.
it's a different view, which I was, to be honest, I was kind of shocked when I was reading it. Like, this shit don't, like Noel says, this don't make sense. So
Right.
you get an astronomer in a society, and they're like, hey, we just elected the person who represent us as a flat earther. You're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, this guy, what, 99% of the world knows that the earth is round, except this one guy here. He's like a couple, maybe a couple thousand, half a million people believe him, and it's just like, this shit don't make sense
No,
unless
well,
he's like some one poetic motherfucker and just spouting out there. And this guy's like, man, I like the cut of this jib. It's just like, people are usually persuaded, especially someone who's well spoken and educated. Man, there's a lot. Them people do a lot of damage.
no,
Mhm.
Andy. First off, I wouldn't have said that because I don't like swearing, and like Noel said, if you swear, you go to hell. So I wouldn't
I'm
want to.
saying
I don't
that
want that to happen.
religious, the religious, tries to make us better people. And like Noel said, like, I don't want nobody telling me this stuff, but I don't know if Danny's better for it. Sometimes he could be a little rough, but I mean, it's all we're trying to do at the end, better ourselves. And me and Danny, we have Judeo-Christian values. Even the way we're different. I'm Catholic, he's Christian. We both have different views, but at the end, we still worship the same God. We just do it differently, which is fine. And it just, I'm not saying this guy is all that bad, but it's just, to me, it boggles my mind. That's all I'm saying. When you go to a chaplain, you're 9 out of 10 times you're in some crisis that you're looking for some religious guidance, and the guy who runs the whole thing is not religious. He's an atheist. It just does not make sense to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess it depends on what his message is going to be. Well, now that he's a chief, I mean, it be it's like if he studied the Christian religion and he still has his beliefs, but then he's tasked with a job to do something else, that should be allowed. I mean, my faith shouldn't prevent me from having the job that I have. Um, Even if it would a job that's contrary to my religious belief, because it technically it's just his job. They're not asking him to put out and display his beliefs. They're asking him to accomplish this job that he's tasked with, being the head chaplain. So your religious is separate, man, separate from the work you do. Um, not all gynecologists have to be women because they have those parts. No, you could study and you can perform the tasks that your job requires. If you're studied enough, if you're proving yourself and you've shown yourself to be adept to that task, you should be able to do the job, I
I
would
think
think.
one of the requirements to be a chaplain, it has to be like, are you down with God or not? Because it, to me, just doesn't make. It's like if I go uh, manage a company in an engineering company, and then they're like, have you ever been an engineer? No, but I know how to manage people. Some people might look at me like, what the fuck's he doing here? You don't even know how to use CAD. So
Right.
that's what
There
I'm saying.
there are people like that, but there's also the other verse where there are people that are in positions of managements that don't have the experience of doing logistics, let's say, but they know how to manage people, they know how to manage time, they know how to budget, and they have all these other tools that help them do the job successfully, even
Maybe
though they might not have intimate knowledge in the actual thing that they're managing.
one of the other chaplains will get him to be a reborn Christian. through his whole tenure. And then if he becomes a Christian or something, then you're gonna see the real battle if this guy gets voted out or not. He a Christian, now let's get him out of there.
Right.
That would be the ultimate. Like, okay, well he found the spirit now. He's down with Jesus now. Let's get him out of here. We can't have that as the head of chaplains.
Right. Well, I think no matter how you spin it, this is definitely something that's kind of weird and not something expected. But that's the world we live in. Sometimes things happen and you just don't expect it. But that's about all the time we got for you guys today. We appreciate you tuning in. Remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Freeform Network. Send in those questions and suggestions, ffnquestions@gmail.com. Hit that like and subscribe on whatever you're using for platforms. Hit those comments. We appreciate it. We read them. We see them. So we really appreciate that you guys are out there supporting us. But for Freeform Radio, I got Noel with me.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us today.
And we got Andy.
It's all good, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
For sure, man. Everybody be out there, be good to each other, be cool, and we'll catch you on the next one.
That was cool, Dad.